moment for the Candidates Forum. Hello and welcome to the 2024 Candidates Forum here at the Seminole Auditorium, City Auditorium, which is basically the old junior high auditorium. We have several candidates that are going to speak tonight, moderators, and questions that we're going to bring up for you. We're glad you can bring that to you live here on YouTube, KSEM 106.3's YouTube page at Seminole TX Radio. If you're watching, please share this page or subscribe to it so other folks can watch if they can't make it to the auditorium. So Shantae Pettyjohn is our moderator, and she'll step up here just a moment. We'll get this thing started, and I'll run the camera over so we can see what's going on. Give you an update here as we roll through. We have U.S. Representative District 19. We'll have conversations on that. State Representative District 88, Gaines County Tax Assessor Collector, and Gaines County Commissioner. So we'll be able to talk to folks from all of those races. And there are acknowledged races that have not been contested. It'll be Joe Nagy, County Attorney, Ronnie Pipkin, Gaines County Sheriff, David Murphy, Gaines County Commissioner Precinct 3, and Chad Hallam, Gaines County Constable, Precinct 1. So it's the contested races we will have conversations with, and when Shantae gets ready to talk, we'll turn that over to her, and we'll get it running here in just a moment. U.S. Representative District 19, Jody Arrington has sent a representative. Ryan Zink is here. Chance Ferguson here as well, and Vance Boyd will not be able to make it in District 19. And Shantae Pettyjohn is going to take over, and we are ready to go.
All right, well, welcome. We're glad to see everybody here. Thank you for coming out. This forum is put on by the Seminole Area Chamber of Commerce, and we just really want to thank you for your interest in our local, state, and national elections and your attendance tonight. If you will stand, we're going to start with a prayer and the pledge. Okay. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all of your blessings, for the community that we live in, and for all of the citizens that are so interested in what we're doing here tonight. We're thankful for the candidates that care about their community and are running. And I just pray that you would bless each one, that you would protect them as they go home this evening, and that you would just be with us here tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And you can be seated now. Okay, so we're going to start this evening by acknowledging the local candidates that will be on the primary ballot, but they're running unopposed. So when I read your name and your title, if you will stand and just wave at everybody. First of all, we have Gaines County Attorney Joe Nagy. Joe make it? I don't see Joe. Okay, then we have Gaines County Sheriff Ronnie Pipkin. There's Ronnie. Gaines County Commissioner Precinct 3, David Murphy. And last but not least, the County Constable Chad Hallam. Did I see him? I don't think he made it. All right, well, let's give these guys one more round of applause. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you, and thanks for being here tonight. Okay, at this time, we're going to get into it. We're going to do our question and answer portion of the forum. And we're going to go in the same order that they are on the ballot. So we will begin with the office of the United States Representative, District 19. So if I can have those candidates come up and be seated. And tonight, for this race, we have Chance Ferguson and Ryan Zink. Okay, and just to give you all a little bit of a heads up of how this is going to work, before they're asked their first question, we're going to give them 2 minutes to introduce themselves and really just kind of give you some background or say kind of whatever it is that they want to say, and then we'll ask the first question. Okay, so first we have Chance Ferguson.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of y'all for coming tonight. Let me adjust this just a little bit, I think. I always like to see the general public get out and get informed. Like she said, my name is Chance Ferguson. I was born and raised in Merkel, Texas, just outside of Abilene, a little small farming and ag community there. Once I got to my senior year in high school, I moved to Lubbock and I graduated from Friendship High School. Immediately after graduation, I went to Tarleton State University, where in 1991, the Gulf War broke out, and I withdrew from my college education and I joined the United States Marine Corps. After I served the United States Marine Corps, I came back to Abilene, Texas, where I held various jobs. I was in construction and built houses, and I broke horses and trained and rodeoed and did different things until the year 2003, and that's when I was hired with the United States Marshal Service. I started with them in New Orleans, Louisiana, and then I transferred to Alpine, Texas, where I worked on the border with Homeland Security, HSI. I was on the DEA Haida Task Force. And in 2015, I transferred back to Abilene, Texas. It was the deputy in charge for the U.S. Marshals in the Abilene and San Angelo divisions. It covered 28 counties. In August of last year, I had had enough of watching our Congress and our government destroy this country, and I decided to retire. Excuse me. I decided to retire and run for federal office. God was encouraging me to do it, and I fought with him and told him I wasn't doing it, and he finally convinced me to do it, so here I am before you all this evening.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Zink. I'm from Lubbock, Texas, and for the last 1,008 days of my life, I have been a political prisoner. I was a journalist on the grounds of January 6th, to where the federal government came after me with full force. I was kidnapped from my home on February 4th at 4:18 a.m., and I was transferred all the way to Washington, D.C. That for being a Republican candidate's son, I was beaten, tortured, and poisoned. Every meal that I had at that facility was covered in some kind of cleaning agent, some kind of bleach, some kind of something that was in my food. After I had spoke up to my attorney and my father about this to try to see if they could get me transferred to somewhere else, they stuffed raw chicken in my water pipe to sabotage my drinking water. Shortly after this time, I began to pray in my cell, wondering whether or not I was going to die. I came in at 180 pounds and left that facility at 130. I reached out to our current representative, Jody Arrington, and I asked him for help, and he sat down with me for an hour and then made no statement. He's given one thing to the American people over the last 6 years in our area, and that's a bunch of nothing. When I reached out to him, there was no compromise. He met with me and said, "It sounds like it's going to be a big deal, but we have to keep a straight face on the campaign here." I prayed to God and I asked him who was going to be sent to protect the American family. Who was going to stop something like this when the FBI is an arm of the Biden administration as they come down and they label us and put us into categories so that they could come and prosecute the American family for what they wanted. When nobody stepped up for me from 65 different congressmen, I said, "Lord, send me." All I want to do is make sure that the American family is safe and that our government officials are held accountable. Thank you.
Okay, so at this time we're going to do our first question, and we're going to start with Chance. What is your motivation for seeking this office, and also what experience do you feel you possess that specifically qualifies you for this position?
This is Chance Ferguson.
Question. Well, like I said, I served in the United States Marine Corps. I've got 2 sons who are also United States Marines. We come from a very strong military family who support this country. The qualifications that I have for this job, in my opinion, is I'm the only one running that has qualifications for this job. And that's not anything against Ryan at all. But when you talk about border security, I was stationed on the border. I worked with Border Patrol, HSI, Homeland Security. I saw the problem we have. I was on the DEA Hydra Task Force. I know the fentanyl problem. I know the human smuggling problem from the bottom to the top. I've worked with the Mexican office and the comandantes, and I know the cartels inside and out. If we need somebody in office, and that's our problem is, we keep electing people to office that don't have any real world experience. Our current representatives never had to skip a car payment to make sure his house doesn't get taken from him. Okay? He doesn't know the first thing about it. I'm an active shooter instructor. I'm a firearms instructor. I know ins and outs about active shooter, that it's not a gun problem. It is a mental illness problem. And we're fostering mental illness in this country by telling everybody that it's okay to think that they could be a cat or a dog at school. It's okay to say that you're a transvestite and you want to read books to our kids. They're wrong. If we want to fix this country, we better put God back in Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Okay, now Ryan, I'll repeat the question just so, what is your motivation for seeking this office? Also, what experience do you feel you possess that specifically qualifies you for this position?
This is Ryan Zink.
My motivation for running for this office is because what happened to me can happen to you. As I protected police officers on the East Sports of January 6th, it accounted for nothing in Washington, D.C. The last 3 years of my life, I have developed a network of attorneys, lawyers, and common people that I consider now to be friends, because we have a federal problem in this United States. We have entirely too many 3-letter agencies with unelected bureaucrats who are so-called experts that try to come into the lives of the American people. I brought with me today the only 2 books that I know that I need to study to make sure that I could run this campaign effectively. That's the Bible and the United States Constitution, sticking out from the pages here. My motivations are simply this. If they will do this to me, they will do this to all of you. They poisoned me. They tried to kill me, and there was no one to stand up for me through all of the people that I tried to reach out to. So I will spend the next 2 years of my life making sure that I go in to hold our government officials accountable at the federal level. Because when we lose this country with every one of its problems, if we lose this country, we have nowhere else left to go. And I'm telling you right now that there is no other name besides the name of Jesus Christ that will fix this country, and that is the man that I plan to serve for the rest of my life in its entirety, because he is the only one besides my lovely girlfriend that has gotten me through all of this for the last 3 years. Thank you. A little different everywhere we go.
Okay, Ryan, what do you believe to be the most important issues currently facing Congress, and where do you stand on these issues?
So the most important issue I feel that's up right now is the vote. I believe that it should be a national holiday. I think it should be paper ballots with voter IDs. I think that there should be no stopping of the count, and that the power for that vote needs to be returned back to the states. I also feel like we need to close our border. I just spent all of last week down at the border with the Take Our Country Back convoy. It was an amazing time, and the governor and the rest of the other governors that were over there did a great job cleaning up Shelby Park. But when you go 5 minutes to the right or the left of the border, they're still coming through in real time. We saw them. They were there. Another thing that I know is a big one here is we're talking about the vouchers and our school children. I think that our school children need to be protected from this indoctrination that's being pushed out of Washington, D.C. I don't think anybody in this room wants to show their kids softcore pornography just because it's drawn. Protecting our children and protecting our military are other big aspects, and where I stand on those is that we don't do enough for our guys. I talk to soldiers every single day of the week when I'm calling homes, and the VA is being pushed out because illegal immigrants are being pushed in. I think that we need to give the rights back to the parents. School choice, educational choice, and they get to make a vote on that. And more importantly, what I want to do is I want to give the power back to the states. This federal stuff, it's not working. Washington, D.C. is a cesspool that has absolutely destroyed my life, and I'm going to make sure that I do my very best to make sure that D.C. doesn't come into your homes as well.
Okay, again, Chance. What do you believe to be the most important issues currently facing Congress, and where do you stand on these issues?
I think the most important issue right now is our national safety, our national defense. Currently, we've had a 5.3% reduction in defense spending in the last 2 years. We're going the wrong direction, folks. As these people are crashing across our borders and we don't know who they are, we're arresting people on the terrorist watch list. I've had people in my custody that were off of the terrorist watch list. We don't know who they are. China is getting bigger and bigger by the day. North Korea is getting bigger and bigger, and our Congress is reducing our military by 5.3% every year. That is the wrong direction. Secondly, we need to secure our borders. I don't know why the Biden administration is not sanctioning Mexico when these individuals are starting in South America and coming all the way across their country, and the Mexican officials know it. We should be shutting down the border, and I mean the legal ports of entry too, and telling Mexico until they stop that problem, we're shutting down the border totally. Also, Social Security. I don't understand why we have elderly people in this country that have to live off cat food because when their spouse dies, their income's cut in half. It is a retirement plan, and that side of their retirement should go to their surviving spouse, just like it goes to anybody that's under the age of 18. The VA system is trashed. We have veterans in this country who can't get life insurance because of pre-existing conditions that they got defending this country. They could get $40,000 of life insurance through the VA, and that won't even cover a funeral hardly. Also, we need to move from a federal income tax where our dollar's not being taxed 3 times on every dollar we make and spend, and move to a federal sales tax like the state of Texas. Thank you for your time.
Okay, that's all the questions I have for y'all. So we'll do the closing remarks in reverse order. So Ryan, if you want to do your closing remarks first.
Well, I think the only thing that I have left to say is that I fully support the other 2 men that are running in this race too. You know, you don't see us coming up running a smear campaign. You don't see us coming across as 2 people. I believe that the other 2 men that are in this race care about America just as much as I do. And I think that it's important that each and every single one of you start to research whatever candidate you decide to vote for. And I think that it's very important that each and every single one of you hit your knees in prayer and you ask God for guidance about where this country is headed. Because for too long now, we've been headed in the wrong direction. And I am a firm believer that the only person that can fix this country is Jesus Christ. I think that as people, we have got to start coming together, because while we are focused on all of these other things as they pit us against each other, the federal government has been eroding our religious freedoms and our household freedoms, our God-given constitutional rights that we carry. At each and every single one of my tables at any event I have, I carry a constitution, and I will always carry this Bible with me, because the federal government denied me this Bible while I was at the gulag as they tried to kill me. I asked over 150 times for this Bible because I believe that this is the stepping stone that America returns to its glory on, and it returns to its greatness. I hope to see each and every one of you talking and getting people registered to vote. I think that that is absolutely so important. As we pray for our country, I just hope that you guys will make the right decision for you and your family, and that you'll pray for this nation. Thank you.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a disabled American veteran, served with the U.S. Marine Corps, and in 1991, I took an oath to defend this country. When I got hired on with the U.S. Marshal Service, I once again took an oath. No one has relinquished me or released me from that oath. We have politicians in Congress, and that is what they are. They are politicians. We got them in the Senate, we got them in Washington, D.C. That was not meant to be a career position. That's why we have, everybody says they want term limits. Guess what? We got term limits. If you don't like your politician, you vote him out every 2 years or every 6 years as a senator. But people need to come to the polls, and they need to get rid of them. Probably like y'all, if I see another pamphlet in my mailbox telling me campaign promises, I think I'm going to get sick. I will not stand up here and give you a campaign promise to make you vote for me. I will give you one, and the only one is I am not for sale, period. I have morals, I have values, and I have integrity, and they are not for sale. I challenge you to get on the internet and look at your current representative. Google how much his net worth has gone up in the last 6 years through COVID, while the stock market has crashed and everybody else is suffering. Google it. I did. You'll be appalled. We've got to put God back in Washington, D.C., folks. If you elect me, I cannot promise you one thing. You elect 100 people like me, and we'll change Washington, D.C. in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate both of you.
I'm going to try to not do a Joe Biden here.
These were your candidates for Representative
So I do
District
want to mention,
19.
as they're making their way
Ryan
back to their
Zink
seats,
and Chance Ferguson.
And Ken King, if you want to make your way up here. I do want to mention that the candidates on the Republican ticket for U.S. Representative will be Chance Ferguson and Ryan Zink, who you heard from, Vance Boyd, and then Jody Arrington, who is the incumbent. Now, let me switch page. Okay, now we're going to move to the office of State Representative, and Ken King is here. He is our only candidate for this position. He is the incumbent, and we are just going to let him kind of tell us what has been going on and just fill us in more than anything. So we're going to turn it over to Ken.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am Ken King. I'm your state representative. I became your state representative after redistricting. I'm the last rural representative in the state of Texas, meaning that I don't have a population center that has 100,000 in it. All other 149 representatives and 31 senators cannot truly call themselves rural representatives. I'm born and raised in Canadian Texas. My lovely wife is with me tonight, Robin. We've been married 28 years. She's from Miami. When I say I'm from Canadian Texas, same doctor delivered my mother. So I've been there a long time, as my family has. Also with me tonight, I have my chief of staff from Austin, Cheryl Lively. If you call the office looking for me, she's likely going to make sure you get in to see me. And her husband Lance is with us as well. I've been the state representative for a while. I never wanted to do it. I'm not a career politician, never wanted to be. I ran because if you know about your school and Robin Hood and sending your money downstate to prop up other schools, Canadian was a lot like that when I ran. And frankly, the state, long story short, the state stole $4 million from my school. I was president of the school board at the time, and Mr. Lynch was our superintendent when all this went down. He and I spent the 11th session trying to get somebody in Austin, Texas to listen to us. And I don't care if you're rich or poor, stealing. And that's the way we looked at it. So at the end of that, we were not successful. And I told Kyle, one of us has to have a seat out there. We're never going to get this changed. And I drew the short straw. And I'm your state representative today. I had 17 counties until redistricting. Now I have 19 counties. People say all the time, well, I wish my representative lived closer. Well, I can promise you, if you're that person, 18 counties will feel the same way if the representative was from their home county. We just got done with the session. We had several sessions, and I'm going to go quick. I'm going to try to touch what I was asked to touch. I'm probably not going to answer all the questions you're going to have when I'm done with this, but I promise I'll sit out there until every one of you is done asking me to clarify or done with the comment. So session. Texas Constitution requires two things only. It requires that we balance a budget in 140 days. If we don't balance a budget, session never ends. We're the last state that has a balanced budget amendment. That doesn't mean that we had $321 billion of your money sitting around to balance the budget. The way the budget works in the state of Texas is we pass the budget, the comptroller certifies it, the comptroller then goes and sells bonds, because Texas has a AAA bond rating. $321 billion comes into the state of Texas. We have a biennium of 2 years. After that, sales tax, largely in the state of Texas, fills up the coffers again, and it starts over. But after every odd year, we have to pass a new budget. This time it's $321 billion. We had a $33 billion surplus. Why did we have it? Coming out of COVID, a couple of reasons. Number one, federal government sent about $40 billion to the state of Texas in COVID relief, meaning we didn't spend the $40 billion of your tax dollars, state tax dollars. Other thing that happened is Texas opened its doors a heck of a lot quicker than any other state. We went back to work in the state of Texas, and our sales tax receipts showed it post-COVID. Third thing is Permian Basin. We produced more oil last year than any state in most countries ever has. And most of it's right down here. I work in the oil field. I have oil field service companies, and I have a small ranch in Canadian. Our oil field is not as blessed as yours is right now because we're nearly all natural gas up there. So you are a big part of that $33 billion surplus. So what do we spend it on? Well, the other things the Constitution requires you to do is fund public education. And in its most budgetary form, we did that. We bought down a ton of Robin Hood. We compressed taxes even further. We gave an $18 billion tax cut to the people of Texas. Largest tax cut in the United States history for any state to give. $18 billion went back to people in the form of homestead exemption, tax compression, and some appraisal reform. Appraisal reform needs to be talked about more. I don't have time to go in that probably right now, but I'd love to answer some questions about my thoughts on that. After that, we had the border. We passed a $5.1 billion appropriation to border security this session. Now think about this. 2013, my first session, was the first time Texas funded border security on its own. That budget had $500 million in it. 10 years later, it's 5.1. We got into the fourth called session and we passed another 1.6. And we passed 2 laws that the Biden administration isn't liking right now. Number one, we increased the penalties on stash houses and sanctuary cities and human trafficking. That law went into effect last week. The other law is we gave our state law enforcement deportation powers. That law is currently in the courts because the Biden administration is going to keep us tied up in court as long as they can to stop us from securing our border. There's nothing more important in the short run than securing our border right now. And those of you that see it on TV, and I doubt anybody in this room does, you live too close to New Mexico not to understand what I'm talking about. But when you see it on TV, it's Hidalgo County, it's Eagle Pass. No, it's right here. It's right here coming through your back door. Because guess what? These cartels and these human traffickers and these drug lords, they're not stupid. We build the wall, we build the barriers, we string the barbed wire, and the Biden administration cuts our legs out from under us at every turn, and they're flooding through 12,000 a day. But where are they coming? They're going to New Mexico because they're not doing anything over there, and they're coming right into your backyard. Because you know what they figured out? If they stay on the interstate, our DPS is pretty darn good at spotting them. They can get on your little farm-to-market roads and get from Florida to California and never get detected. What goes through our small towns at night should disturb everybody in this room, and not just a little bit. So I've always been proud to support border security. I didn't know Texas was going to have its own Navy. I didn't know Texas was going to have its own Air Force. We do. We do. And one more thing on that, when we talk about border security, our DPS is doing all they can. Our Texas Rangers, our park rangers, everybody's taking a turn on that border, is doing all they can while the federal government is undercutting them at every turn. But every time our small towns lose our DPS officer or our game wardens to go down there and take a turn, you're less safe. You're less safe when they go do their rotation on the border. That has to end. Border security in the short term is the #1 issue when I knock on a door, when I talk to anybody all across the state, but particularly right here in House District 88. Border security is the #1 issue, and if we don't get that nut out of the White House, we're not going to have a border. And that is a fact. Finally, one of the last things you asked me to address was the school voucher controversy. And some of you, I'm sure, are for school choice, parental choice. What parent wouldn't be? I'm a parent. I raised 2 kids in public education. I voted against the voucher, and I can tell you why. The voucher system, the 2 bills, the Senate bill and the House bill that were proposed, had no chance of doing anything for any one of you or your children. Number one, a private school that got the money had to be accredited by the state. I represent over 60 school districts in 19 counties. Do you know how many accredited private schools are in House District 88? 1. It's in Levelland. They teach to kindergarten. There are no accredited private schools in House District 88. Homeschoolers, I hear a lot from my homeschool families. We want the voucher, we want the voucher. You weren't getting $10,000 a kid. You were going to get $1,000 on curriculum materials paid for on account by the comptroller. So there was no voucher coming your way. But when I looked at it, and I was asked in October by the leadership to help the governor, this became the governor's big issue, help the governor get a voucher bill. And I spent a month outside of special sessions, away from my family, away from my job, down there. I wasn't asked to support it. I wasn't asked to agree with the policy. Personally, I think it's not good policy. I think it's a waste of your taxpayer dollars. I wasn't asked to agree with it. I was asked to craft a bill that got 76 votes. I did that. The governor decided at the end of the day, he was going to take everything your rural representatives in the state of Texas put in the bill to make sure you and your families benefited from a $2.5 billion open-ended entitlement policy. He forced the bill author to take all of those provisions out. Love to sit there and explain all those to you later. So when it was time to take that vote, how am I supposed to stand up here and tell you I voted for a $2.5 billion entitlement program, and I'm going to send your tax dollars to Dallas to prop up private schools, but yeah, it's not going to benefit you or your kids in one way, no way, shape, or form. I can't stand here and do that. Had the bill come about with the provisions I'm speaking of in it, I might have voted for it. I'm never going to tell a parent you don't have the right to choose. I'm not even so sure that I'm completely against it. What I am against is sending your tax dollars to prop up the Muslim school in Dallas that teaches Sharia law. And back to the border. One last thing I want to tell you about this. When you go to public school and you're a citizen of the United States, the school is going to ask you to verify how old your child is. What reading level are they on? All of these questions. If you're an illegal immigrant, you're not allowed to ask because federal law is a don't ask policy. These school districts aren't allowed to ask. You may have a kid come in, doesn't speak English, they're shaving and tell you they're in the 3rd grade. School district has to say they're in the 3rd grade. Well, guess what? The voucher plan, had it passed, illegal immigrants would not have been excluded from that. So now we're going to have an open-ended entitlement policy to put illegal immigrants in private schools while your schools are underfunded. And I can't vote for that. Not going to do it, never, and things are definitely going to have to change to get my vote. Those were the things you asked me to address. I know I've talked longer, probably, but there's a lot went on in this session and the 4 called sessions. Me and my wife and my team, we were going to be in the back. Any of you want to question me or visit with me, and if I haven't got to know you, I'd love to shake your hand. I'll be back here until the last one of you is done with me. Thank you so much, and please vote on March 5th.
That's State Representative District 88, Ken King.
Okay, so on that ballot will be, for state representative, will be Ken King and Karen Post, who is not able to be here today. Okay, so at this time, if I can get our Gaines County Tax Assessor Collector candidates to come up. And while they are coming, I want to go ahead and recognize, I didn't see you in the audience, but we recognized all the local candidates who are running unopposed, and I didn't see our District Attorney, 106th Judicial District, Philip McFurlow. So he's back here, he's waving his hand. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay, so at this time, these candidates are running for Gaines County Tax Assessor Collector. And I wanted to go ahead and read just a brief overview of the duties of the County Tax Assessor Collector's Office. The tax assessor collector calculates property tax rates for the county, collects taxes for the county, and collects various other fees for the state and county, such as motor vehicle registration and licenses. Okay, so we're going to begin with our 2-minute introductions, and we're going to start with Taryn DeLeon.
Good evening. My name is Taryn DeLeon, and I'm running for Gaines County Tax Assessor Collector. I'm married to Mike DeLeon. Mike has owned and operated Uncle Mike's Auto Glass here in Seminole since 2009. We moved home about 2.5 years ago, and since that time, I've been working for Gaines County Tax Office, and where I am the Chief Deputy currently. Before I came to Gaines County, I worked for Lubbock County Tax Office for 8 years. 6 of those years I spent as the branch's supervisor there. Prior to working for Lubbock County Tax Office, I worked in Amarillo for Potter County Tax Office. While I was a branch supervisor, I worked with the state office, DMV, to implement Web Dealer. This system is a web-based program to transfer titles for dealers. This is important because we are able to collect taxes or collect motor vehicle fees here in Gaines County that would otherwise go to other counties across Texas. When I came here, I worked with Susan to implement Web Dealer in Gaines County. Since we've been using Web Dealer since 2022 and 2023, we have collected over $1.5 million in motor vehicle fees from both our local dealers and dealers across Texas. The second reason this is important is because our last legislative session, a bill was passed that will require dealers to use this system exclusively starting next year. Gaines County Tax Office is ahead of the game because we have already been using the system. I truly enjoy what I do. I enjoy serving our community, and I love helping Gaines County residents with their motor vehicle, title, and registration issues. My name is Taryn DeLeon, and I am running for Gaines County Tax Assessor Collector. Taryn DeLeon.
Okay, Taryn, please tell us a little bit about your education, previous employment, or any other history that you believe qualifies you to hold this position.
Okay. I have an associate's in general studies, and I am just a few credits shy of a bachelor's in communication. I'm sorry, short people problems. I'm just a few credits shy of a bachelor's degree in communications. I also complete several continuing education credits every year at our tax assessor conferences. What qualifies me, I have over 12 years of experience working with tax assessor collectors and tax office employees across Texas. I truly enjoy what I do, and I just want to keep doing it. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Kimberly Turner.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here today. It's an honor to stand before you as a candidate for Gaines County Tax Assessor Collector. I am Kimberly Turner, and as a proud member of this county, I have witnessed the power of local government shape our lives positively. I am married to Stoney Turner, a lifelong resident of Gaines County, and we have been blessed with the privilege of raising both of our daughters, Dallas and Molly Kate Turner, here as well. I come before you not just as a candidate, but as someone deeply invested in the well-being of our communities. I have lived in Gaines County for 17 years, where I have worked at Seminole ISD the past 14 years, as a public education information management clerk, collecting, entering, and submitting data to TEA's rigorous standards and guidelines that all generate funding for our public schools. Today, I want to share with you my vision for a tax system that not only meets the needs of today, but also paves the way for a prosperous growth and the way that our counties and communities are growing daily. Together, I believe we can create a community where everyone benefits and our tax dollars are utilized efficiently and transparently. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening, and I look forward to discussing how we can build a better future together.
Okay, Kimberly. Again, please tell us a little about your education, previous employment, or any other history that you believe qualifies you for this to hold this position.
I was born and raised in West Texas. I graduated from Plains High School. I have my associate's degree in art. I'm currently working on my bachelor's. I still am a few hours shy of that. That's something that when you have children, you have to balance work and time and your children as well as everything else in life. While I may not have direct experience in the tax office, I bring valuable skills and attributes that are critical for the role of tax assessor collector. Serving as a PEMS clerk, I have been instrumental in assuring the accuracy and integrity of public education information management systems, overseeing crucial aspects such as attendance, records, enrollment, and compliance, which all generate funding for schools. This experience has equipped me with strong analytical abilities, attention to detail, and excellent organizational skills. I'm also adept to working with various software applications and look forward to the opportunity of learning several more. I'm committed to learning and adapting to new challenges each day and serving each one of you with integrity, transparency, and excellent customer service.
Okay, and now we have Sarah Hobbs Grotto.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Hobbs Grotto, and I am seeking the Gaines County Tax Assessor Collector. I am the daughter of Daryl and Cindy Hobbs, and I'm also married to Reuben Grotto Jr., and we have one daughter, Cheyenne Grotto. My husband and I both are long-term residents of Gaines County, and Seminole is our hometown. I do have a bachelor's degree in business administration and accountancy. I have close to 20 years experience in the finance and accounting industry. I have close to 15 years of experience in leadership positions where I gained management and supervisory experience. I also have 13 years in public service. I worked for city government as a finance director and an accountant. And I am extremely proud that Gaines County and Seminole is my home. And I would love to continue my journey serving the citizens of this county as the Gaines County Tax Assessor Collector.
Okay, so Sarah, please tell us a little bit about your education, previous employment, or any other history that you believe qualifies you for this position.
Okay, so as I said, I do have a bachelor's of business administration in accountancy. I do have 13 years in public service. I was a finance director and an accountant for city government. I do have experience as an auditor as well for 3 years. I think with those positions, I gained a lot of experience in attention to detail, filing reports, and being able to look at financial reporting. I have experience in budgeting, and I just feel like those are some of the qualities that would help me be successful as the tax assessor. Oh, do I have to stay? Sorry. Do I stay? Okay.
What would it be if there wasn't a tiny bit of confusion? And y'all, just so you know, they don't have these questions ahead of time, so that's kind of why there's a little bit of repetition, but I don't think it hurts any of us to kind of hear qualifications more than one time. Okay, so Kimberly, if you'll come up, you're going to be the first to answer our second question. What do you believe to be the most important keys to run this office efficiently and successfully?
I feel like the most important key to running this office to the best of my abilities would be communicating with the public, listening to our community members, being upfront with them, transparent, exceptional community service. It's not just about me, it's about me working for our community and the citizens of Gaines County and making sure that your voice is heard. And I believe that's one of the key roles in this.
Thank you. Okay, Sarah, you'll be up next for this question.
Okay.
I really confused them, guys. Okay, what do you believe to be the most important keys to run this office efficiently and successfully?
Okay. I feel like obviously customer service is a huge part of it for me. I feel like that is what we're there for, is to serve the public. And I feel like we should go above and beyond to help them in any way possible. I also think it's important to deal directly with other parts of the county as far as like Commissioner's Court and things like that, just so that efforts are coordinated. That's good.
Thank you. Thanks, Tammy. What do you believe to be the most important keys to run this office efficiently and successfully?
Communication is probably the number one key to running this office efficiently, but also working with the public and the state offices, because you have to stay on top of the laws, how they're changing, how they're affecting our office, so that you can make sure that our customers are legal on the road. That's probably the most important thing, is just making sure that we are doing our job correctly according to the law, to make sure that everybody out there is legal, and they're not going to get a ticket, so we don't get it, it doesn't come back on us. So communication, not only with the public, but with our state offices, just staying on top of the changing laws.
Okay, Sarah, you'll get the first crack at this last question.
Shante, you're confusing me about
Okay, what, if any, changes would you like to see made in our local tax assessor's office?
I mean, honestly, I don't really feel like I can speak very well to that because I don't currently work in that office. I mean, the only thing that I can say is I know that they already do have great customer service, and I mean, that's something that I would definitely like to focus on and continue and improve in any way possible. The rest of it, I just don't really feel like I can speak to.
Thank you. Okay, so back to Taryn. What, if any, changes would you like to see made in our local tax assessor's office?
Honestly, there's not a lot that we can change because our office is governed by law. So everything that we do in our office, there's a law regarding how we fill out forms, how we help customers, how we answer questions. So there's really not anything that can be changed as far as procedures in our office. I feel like Susan does a great job as far as we are efficient. We do go above and beyond for our customers. We have great customer service skills. We work as a team to make sure that that office runs as efficiently and effectively as possible.
Thank you.
Okay, now Kimberly. What, if any, changes would you like to see made in our local tax assessor's office?
I'm with Sarah on this. I don't currently work in the tax assessor's office. I feel like things that go on there have been ran smoothly in the past and are currently being held that way now as well. The only thing that I would do is myself reach out more customer service. I think that's a big key. Being involved in the community, doing what's right. As Taryn stated, most of what goes on in that office is state and federal regulated, and just us complying with those laws, helping each other, and working together for our communities.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to start our 2-minute closing remarks. We're going to start with Kimberly.
Thank you all again for being here today. running for tax assessor collector isn't just about numbers. It's about serving our community with integrity and transparency. With my experience at Seminole ISD, I'm confident in my ability to maximize our tax collection system, ensuring that it is efficient, accessible, and fair to all residents. I am committed to fostering open communication, providing top-notch customer service, and working collaboratively with other government entities. Together, we can create a tax system that not only funds essential services, but also supports the growth and prosperity of our community. I ask for your trust and support in this journey. Let's build a future where our tax dollars are used wisely, our processes are streamlined, and our community thrives. Together, we can make a positive impact. Thank you again for your consideration in the upcoming election as Gaines County Tax Assessor.
Okay, Sarah, I'm going to keep you confused. You want to do your closing remarks. Sarah Hobbs Grotto.
Okay. I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I think it is important to come and listen to what everybody has to say and be informed. I do feel like I have a lot of experience that qualifies me for this position. I do have the 13 years in public service with city government. When I took that job, I took it as a way to follow in my dad's footsteps. He worked for city government for 25 years and retired from the Seminole Police Department. So I would be honored to continue that journey in public service. This is my hometown, as I stated before, and I'm super proud of this community. I would be so honored to serve Gaines County in this position. So thank you for the opportunity to get up here and let y'all know that.
Thank you, Sarah. And last but not least, Taryn.
I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight and just leave you with this. I truly believe that my experience and my commitment to serving this community makes me the best candidate for this position. I want to thank you all just for your time and coming out to listen to us talk. Thank you.
Those are your Gaines County Tax
Thank
Assessor
you.
Collector candidates.
These are all three of the candidates for Tax Assessor Collector: Taryn DeLeon, Sarah Hobbs Grotto, and Kimberly Turner. Okay, and our final candidates are the candidates for Gaines County Commissioner Precinct 1. If y'all would like to come up here. We have Brian Rawson and Derek Sellers. And while they're coming up here, I'm just going to read a brief overview. The county commissioner is responsible for roads and bridges within their precinct and makes policy, making budget decisions. 4 commissioners elected from a quarter of the county's population serve along with the county judge on the commissioner's court. As a member of commissioner's court, the commissioner of precinct 1 also has these duties: adopts the county's budget and tax rate, approves all budgeted purchases of the county, fills vacancies in elective and appointed offices, sets salaries and benefits, has exclusive authority to authorize contracts, provides and maintains all county buildings and facilities. I just kind of wanted to give you all a little background of what the position is. Okay, so we'll start with our 2-minute intro with Brian Rawson.
Good evening. Thank y'all for coming out. My name is Brian Rawson. I'm running for re-election for a 3rd term as Commissioner of Precinct 1. I'm a lifelong resident of Seagraves, graduated from Seagraves High School. My wife Sherry, she's been a teacher in Seagraves for 25 years. We have 3 children, 4 grandchildren. I've worked for Gaines County Precinct 1 for 34 years. I started my career in the county as a road hand, then I become foreman, and I've had the honor of serving as county commissioner for the past 7 years. In 34 years, I've gained the knowledge and experience to fully understand the needs and requirements of our precinct. I've been a part of every aspect of new road construction as well as maintaining county roads. I have a strong working relationship with TxDOT, city governments, local schools. I worked on many interlocal agreements that benefit the citizens of Gaines County. Excuse me. As commissioner, I'm part of a strong team within Commissioners Court. We've been able to remodel and upgrade several county facilities, including turning a historic building into a new county library in Seagraves. Pretty proud of that one. Been involved in 2 TxDOT grants that's funded much needed road maintenance. And we have more than 400 miles of road in Precinct 1 alone. And that's a real priority for me, is having good roads. 2 terms as commissioner has given me the knowledge and hands-on experience to work on budgets, grants, subdivisions, facility maintenance, and the many other responsibilities of being a county commissioner. I take pride in serving the people of our community, and it'd be an honor to continue the work that we're doing in Gaines County, and I'd appreciate your vote. Thank y'all.
Okay, next we have Derek Sellers.
Good afternoon. My name is Derek Sellers. I lived in Gaines County for most of my life and a resident of Seagraves for approximately 40 years. I currently work for Gaines County Precinct 4 as the heavy equipment operator and parks maintenance. I have held this position for almost 5 years. Prior to this job, I worked for Lennegar Electrical for over 24 years. My work history has given me the opportunity to learn the roads, landscape, and citizens of Gaines County. My wife and I own a successful business in Seagraves and are actively involved in the community. I have been involved with the Seagraves Loop Chamber of Commerce, served on the North Gaines County Emergency Service District Board, the Seagraves Volunteer Fire Department Retirement Board. I have been a Mason with the Seagraves and Seminole Lodge for over 15 years. I would appreciate your vote as your next commissioner of Precinct 1. I think communication with the citizens is important, and I will make myself available to listen to all that and to address all their concerns. I appreciate your time, and I will be available to answer any of your questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, Brian. What do you believe to be the most important keys to running Gaines County Precinct 1 efficiently and successfully?
Well, we take care of a whole lot in Precinct 1. We're over in Seagraves by ourselves. The other 3 precincts are in Seminole. So I depend a lot on my crew. I've got an amazing crew, and we just, like I said, we got 3 cemeteries. We got 3 baseball fields, walking park. We take care of a lot. I don't think people realize how big of an area that is, but just time and, I mean, keeping everything lined out and rolling is a full-time job, and I take a lot of pride in it. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Derek, what do you believe to be the most important keys to run Gaines County Precinct 1 efficiently and successfully?
Communication with taxpayers, number one thing. Their voice needs to be heard, and that's what a commissioner would be doing, is listen to the taxpayers and going forward from there.
Thank you. If you can stay here. This is the last question. Okay, what do you see as the most important needs in Precinct 1? And what specific plans do you have to address those needs?
Right now, I'm not 100% certain on the needs. I'd have to wait till I got in office, and then I could address them then.
Okay. Thank you. And Brian, what do you see as the most important needs in Precinct 1, and what specific plans do you have to address those needs?
Our needs are, we ain't got over COVID. our, trying to get equipment bought. We're a year out on stuff, trying to replace equipment. As far as paving and stuff, it's getting harder to get a hold of asphalt and gravel. And, I mean, we've got our own feature pits, and so, I mean, we've got stuff going in the right direction to be able to take care of the stuff there, but as of right now, we just, I mean, our budgets, when we come into office, when I first took office, we just cut $5 million, or they cut $5 million out of the budget. And we've never caught back up. And we're trying to keep taxes low, but with inflation and the cost of stuff, we've got a real challenge ahead of us moving forward. So, but anyway, I think I'm up on it. So,
Okay.
thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, and now we're going to do the 2-minute closing remarks, and since we started with Brian on the other one, we'll start with Derek on the closing remarks.
Thank y'all again for being here. This is gonna be pretty simple to y'all, but it means a lot to me. I couldn't be doing this without my wife, Kendra. I love you.
I want to thank y'all for coming out. I've really enjoyed my career with the county. I think we've done a lot of great things. Excuse me. I think we got a lot of great things left to do. I'd like to see more progress in buildings and facilities and get the stuff updated, and we're working on that now. We've had some struggles with, we just had to change insurance companies, so that's going to be an obstacle, and but it's looking good. I think we've got a lot of good work to do. And appreciate y'all for coming out. I'll be at the back, happy to answer questions, so thank y'all.
Yes, you're done.
2 candidates for Precinct 1 here in Gaines County.
Okay, and that is both of the candidates for that race, Gaines County Commissioner Precinct 1, Brian Rawson, and Derek Sellers. And I'm sure most of you know that the only way you vote for that office is if you are in Precinct 1. Okay, well that concludes our questions for our candidates. So just a couple of reminders before we dismiss. We've invited every one of the candidates. They all have a table in the back. I think most of them plan on being back there. Go visit with them. If there's something you didn't understand, if there's more questions you have, they're happy to answer questions. And that's why they're back there. They have stuff on their tables that they are wanting, that they will give you, and just talk to you about what their ideas are, what they're thinking. So take advantage of them being back there. We'll close the doors when everybody's done talking. So also, what I wanted to point out is on each of the exit doors, we do have sample ballots for both the Republican and Democrat ballots. They're sample ballots. And then we also have the flyer that shows all of the voting dates, the early voting, the regular voting, and then all those locations within the county. So if you even want to just screenshot that with your phone, or but that information is on those doors. And also, I want to encourage you, this was live streamed on YouTube, and it will be on the KSEM YouTube channel that you can go back and rewatch it, and then we will share that on our Facebook page, the Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. So I know you've all been here, but please encourage those around you, your family, your friends, whoever, they can go watch the thing in its entirety, either on YouTube or on our Facebook when we share that. So that's a really great resource that we hope you'll encourage your friends and family to check out. With that said, I just really want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time on a Thursday evening to come out and to hear what our candidates have to say at the local, state, and national level, because it's important. Voting is how we have a voice. And so thank you for caring. Thank you for being here. And with that, I will say we're done. Thank you.
That was our candidates forum here on KSEM 106.3's YouTube page at Seminole TX Radio. As Shante said, we will keep this up on our page and continue to let it run. So when you go watch ball games, you can pull this off as well, and you can watch the candidates forum. So you can go back if you don't see the information you need, you can get it there. Also, Shante will share this with our Facebook page on the Seminole Chamber of Commerce. And again, I'm a member of the board on the chamber as well, and so we will make sure that we have that for you. So this will be on this page, and we'll share it to you. Thank you for being a part of the democratic process and for watching this video, and we'll close it out tonight. Just remind you that we'll have Indians basketball tomorrow from Pecos at let's see, I think it'll be at 7:15 is when we'll have that game. We also have Hometown Pride tomorrow morning at 10:05. The Chamber will have the Pink Ladies on there as well. I'm Rob Franklin for KSEM 106.3, the sound of the tribe. Thank you for watching the Candidates Forum tonight.